Do you send Shane Doan into the negotiations with Austin Matthews?
Yeah, you put him and Matthew Nyes, all the Arizona connection.
Yeah.
I don't think that matters. I mean, I read online like, oh, that's what you got to do. You got to hire, Austin's inspiration player. I think that's a bit of a stretch, but having Shane there, someone that Austin has a relationship with, because if you think like Austin doesn't know Brad Treliving at all. So the idea that he wants to trust what someone's going to say to him, believe in what the message is going to be, and that it'll be executed. You're going to want to believe the general manager, but maybe if it comes from Shane, someone you have a history with, maybe there is a little bit easier communication and instinctive trust created with Doan over even the general manager.
Johnny, what do you think Austin Matthews, assuming he signs with the Leafs, his next contract would look like? Like, what is your vision or prediction or assumption that it would look like? There's someone on this panel that will be furious if it's not 8 years because he's tired of everyone around the league saying, I'm all in, I'm committing. A bunch of players have done it. And he wants 8 years. And the man's name is Brian Hayes.
Yeah, just like
It's
you might
not
as
me,
well
Johnny.
just point it
It's
out.
not me, Johnny.
Yeah.
So what is your assumption or prediction of what's going to happen?
So my prediction would be 3 years, $40 million, so 13.34 a year, just to be cute.
Mm-hmm.
Or 5 years, something like 67.5, maybe 13.5 a year. I don't think he's going to go 8. I think, like we saw with Gavrikov, I think the idea of this cap really bumping up by like $10 million, players will be hesitant, and it will be a tough negotiation to say, well, percentage of the cap wise, I deserve 15%. Well, when it's $100 million in 7 years, that's $15 million. I got to get closer to that. Doesn't mean it's a harder negotiation than just being there in 3 or 4 years when it's $95 million, saying, you know what, paying me $15 million doesn't seem so outrageous at this point. Maybe we'll get to that easier. So I think like a 3 or a 5 in the $13 to $14 million range. And then after that, he will evaluate what the organization's like, have they won, where his life is, does he have some sort of family preferences about where he may want to go, and he'll aim to hit his 8-year contract when he is whatever that would make him. That would make him 28 or 30. Then you get your $120 million contract, and you walk away being the first $200 million player in the NHL. That's how I think it goes.
So why him though? Why didn't McKinnon do that? Why didn't Pasternak do that? Why didn't Tkachuk do that? Why is it just Austin that would do that?
Matthew did do that.
No, he didn't. He just signed 8 years. He just signed 8 years in Florida.
Yeah, but why did he get the 8-year deal? Because he signed the bridge deal that walked him into UFA.
Yeah.
Right?
So he's in his mid-20s.
Right, but it's still just timing. Like he did hedge once to give himself more leverage for a bigger contract. Austin's going to hedge twice.
Okay,
I mean, it's the
exactly.
same premise.
Yeah, no, it's not though. Like Tkachuk didn't hedge twice. He hedged once.
No, he didn't, because he found the spot he wanted to go to, and quite frankly, Matthew Tkachuk's not as good as Austin Matthews. The money's not there for him. It won't be there, and he's coming off a 110-point year. He was never going to get, well, maybe now, but he was unlikely to ever be in a better position to get more money than he was last summer.
Sure.
Austin will likely be in a position to get more money 3 years from now. So, the reason why Nathan McKinnon did it, because he just won a cup there. That's why he did it. You know what I mean? Pasta, I think because there's some things in his life that made him maybe really want to be in Boston and choose to stay there.
Right. Listen, he's free to do what he wants. Obviously.
Gavrikov just did it.
Well, Gavrikov is not the equivalent of Austin Matthews.
Well, neither was Matthew Tkachuk.
Well, he's not far off. He's up for the Hart.
Yeah.
How far off is he? He's a top 12 player in the league? He's not. Let's not pretend like Tkachuk's a terrible player, Johnny. Come on.
No one's suggesting that. I'm just saying the idea of players going shorter. Pierre-Luc Dubois, he won't sign it. You know what I mean? Guys.
I'll bet you if he goes to Montreal, he signs for 8.
Well,
I'll bet you if Dubois is in Montreal, I'll bet you he signs 8.
He won't be. He goes as a free agent because he'll only be able to sign for 7.
But you understand what I'm saying. It just boggles my mind how it's just this guy here, and no one can give me the explanation.
Listen,
no one else
because he wants flexibility. Why do you hate on that? Why does he have to give undying loyalty, commitment, and time?
Because that's the nature of a hard salary cap. Everyone else doesn't.
That doesn't make it that he has to.
Sure.
You have to show me and let me know why I should keep coming back here. Why does it have to be I give you everything and you do organization?
He gives them everything.
Work for me.
They don't do anything for him, Johnny. They don't treat him like a king. They didn't just give him $11.6 million. They're not going to make him the highest paid player in NHL history. That seems like a lot that the Leafs are doing. Am I wrong here?
Listen,
I told you he's gone to the mailbox every July 1st and picked up $11 million.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, there's a little thing called trying to win, right? So there's also that.
Okay.
And
So,
Right.
Now, them winning and losing is also on Austin Matthews. I'm not absolving him, and he's more responsible for this than anyone. They just fired the GM. He has to believe that for the next 8 years of his life, they're going to be able to be the kind of team he wants to play for.
well,
If you can build in flexibility, like I know they don't do it in hockey often. Stars don't do it. They're conservative by nature. They sort of sign where they were drafted. And they try to play their whole careers there, and that's how it's always been. But I don't know if that doesn't make it his fault that he wants to go a different way. And I look to basketball, and you may hate the fact that basketball does it. But the fact that basketball players built in flexibility to go to different places for different situations for lots of money all the time, they have the leverage and the power to do so. I don't mind him exercising the leverage he has. You hate it as a Leaf fan. You want him to just commit the rest of his life there. I don't mind him saying, yeah, I'll keep committing there as long as we're good. And if we're not, then, I'll want to explore different things. I don't have a problem with that.
Yes, and I understand what you're saying, Johnny, but I don't get the impression, like even everything you just laid out, is about flexibility. It's about the money. Like you just said, the way you just laid it out is he wants to make $200 million plus. He wants to hit the 8-year banger again.
at the right time of his age.
That's not winning and
right?
losing. That has nothing to do with the Leafs, the GM, who he plays with, winning or losing.
I think, Johnny, what he's trying to
financial.
say is he's never really heard the narrative. I want to be a
All
part of this.
All I want to do is be a Leaf. I just love being a Leaf, and I'm gonna and this is what I want to do, and that's it. It just and again, he hasn't spoken publicly. To be fair to him,
no. What did he say at the end of the year? He said, "Absolutely, I love it here. I want to come back. I'd like to work this contract out as soon as possible." What more do you want him to say? Do you have to put an ad up? He said it out of his mouth.
Yes, I understand that.
Proof's in the pudding because he has to sign to back up those very words. But there are three. We talked about this. There's like three parts to where a player ends up signing. Right? Is the team any good? How much money am I going to make? Do I want to play and live there?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, the team's good right now. The money's good right now. He likes living there right now. If any of those things change, then
You demand a trade and they flip you.
But then who cares? Why would you don't have to worry about them flipping you somewhere you want to go. You keep control of your life.
Well,
you do.
Yes.
Why? What? There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, then sign a 1-year deal.
Well, I mean, I don't want him on a 1-year deal.
Listen, at least don't want him on a 1-year deal.
Of course not.
I think personally, just jumping in here, I think he's going to get a 4-year deal at just under $14 million. That's my guess.
Sure.
And I've got no skin in the game, but that gives you 4 years. You figure out if this group, not this group, he'll either win or not here, and that's it. Like that, I don't see him as a 33-year-old here. The Ovi situation, he's 13 years in. They've got to do it now. John Tavares is 33 in September, at $11 million a year for the next 2 years.
Would you be happy with the 4 years?
Listen, I want him to be a Maple Leaf.
Principle. That's what he's saying.
It's not about me not understanding the logic or even being against that.
Right.
It's that he appears to be the only guy that's going to do it, and
right.
it happens to be the Maple Leafs.
You're right.
That's my whole point, and I
it
totally
chaps your ass.
Why would it not? Why wouldn't it if you're Brendan Shanahan?
Yeah,
and you're like, wait a minute, man. This McKinnon just gave them 8 at 12-7. He went $100,000 over McDavid. I think it was 12-6.
Yeah, it's 12-6.
You think that's a coincidence? Of course it's not.
Right.
He goes, I'll push the bar up $100,000, but I'm not jamming anyone up. I want Ranton in here. I want Makar here. I want to win again. But with the Leafs, it's I need flexibility. I want to make $200 million. I want to do this, and it's like, come on, man.
Right.
Matthews, yes, they haven't won.
In
but
fairness, that was Johnny. Those were Johnny's words.
No, I understand that.
Those were Johnny's words. Those aren't
and
Austin Matthews' words.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not his words.
And that has to be clarified that Matt, there's been nothing on the record about anything from
We're just
Matthews,
having a debate
and we'll
about
see
it.
where it goes. But also, we need to clarify something here because it's kind of reminding me of the Aaron Rodgers situation at the end in Green Bay, where everyone was like, "Man, look what they're jamming him up." Blah blah blah. They gave him a chance to win every year. Austin Matthews has been in the playoffs every year of his career.
That's true.
Every single year he's been in this Leaf team has put him in a good spot since he got here.
Yeah.
Like, they have not jammed him up. They haven't.
Good point.
No, not at all. The guy that he grew up with in the organization just left. Like, you can understand a little hesitation about, just how it's all going to shake out in the future.
Sure.
In fact, Tavares essentially did the same thing, right? He signed a 5-year contract with the Islanders, then walked for 8 years when he was 28, right? Like, players, to varying degrees, want to try to control where they're at. And I think Austin may be the newest of the new breed of players. Alex DeBrincat's got a $9 million qualifier, and he's like, I'm good. I don't need to play in Ottawa. Now, he got traded there, but, players are making big financial decisions, and Ottawa's not Toronto, and DeBrincat's not Austin Matthews. I'm just saying, I think as this goes along, now Austin may be at the forefront of it, and that may piss you off. It's like, why us? Like, why do we have to be the best case for this with the best player we have? But it's going to happen more.
You're right.
You're right. And it's on the club to appreciate what is happening and make sure that you prepare and also stay good enough that they want to keep coming back.
Sure. And I can reason with all that. And my last point on this is it probably would be easier, speaking for Leaf fans here on this, if the last time around it wasn't as contentious. And Matthews wasn't. He signed kind of out of nowhere. It was a 5-year, 11-6, but it was contentious with Marner. It was contentious with Willie.
Yeah.
And it's like, really, guys, it's going to happen again.
They got every ounce of money out of it. I know that.
And they haven't won anything in large part because they have no flexibility because of all that.
I see what you're saying. Like, it's frustrating because you're looking around the league. And McKinnon won a cup, but he put his hand up.
Wouldn't that mean even more? He'd be like, all right, guys, now I gave you my cup. Now I want my flexibility and my money.
Yeah.
Now I want
But some guys are just – everyone seems to be wired a little bit different. And Johnny, you laid it out. Like, Pasternak likes Boston. And Boston rolled the dice. They let this guy play into the season.
Well, and I give them a lot of
credit. And
the
guy goes and scores 60.
Right, because they knew he wanted to be here, and they had a backbone. And they're like, listen, if you want to be a Bruin – you got to prove you want to be a Bruin.
Yeah, I get it. I come back. The only reference I have is Jarome Iginla. And Jarome Iginla signed 3-year deals. And that guy was a superstar. He's a Hall of Famer. And he was like, I'm comfortable at 3 years and, financial will change and maybe my team changes. And, I see every 3 years.
The dynamic of people, like staying in one spot and playing your whole – it's not for everybody.
Sure.
Man. People want people can wear other people out.
Absolutely.
And vice versa, whether it's guys on the team or yourself. I knew that my time, and I fully understand that I'm not for everybody, and I feel the same way about a lot of people. But it was time to move on. It was time to move on. I remember, clear as day, I came off one shift, and a fourth-line plumber said, why don't you focus on your own job? And I looked at him and I said, oh, really? That's when it clued in. It was time to exit stage left.
Okay.
Wow. I will say this, guys. I predicted this yesterday, although there is not a pro teeing off. But I said in the 5 o'clock hour, we will be yelling and screaming about Austin Matthews' contract on a golf course.
Yeah. Johnny got you fired
Johnny
up
pressed a
with
button.
The accusations and the assumptions.
Yes. I had no intention of going there at all. We were talking Shane Doan. We brought it up. It's a connection, and here we go. And now it's going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
This is going to happen again. That's it. I'm done. I'm not talking about it anymore.
It was a good chat.
I don't want to talk about –
I tried to jump in, and O gives me the –
I can't call him back. I go, don't even think about it. This guy, these two are so horny right now for Matthews talk. I got to let them go.
This was Crosby. This was Crosby
Kessel and me and Ray yelling at each other.
But it wasn't, because it wasn't
it's
yelling.
Not actually yelling.
No, it was just talking and debating. It was great, though.
Listen, everything Johnny says is 100% reasonable and understandable.
I know.
But I don't think everything I'm saying is unreasonable.
There was a guy hitting a 7-iron behind us, and you were like, Pasternak didn't do it, and this guy didn't do it, and that guy didn't do it.
Yeah. Oh my! They're out there right now, dude. You just did that again. There's some guy trying to tee off right now. We better hit a break. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.